Hello everybody, my name is Cilantro and I am recording live here in Austera, the beautiful Austera Freedom Port in Solus Highlands, and I want to talk to you guys today about crime and punishment in ArcheAge. It's one of the really neat features about this game is the fact that you can actually attack people of your own faction. You can interact with players in a large variety of ways that just aren't possible in a lot of other MMOs, especially those that have a two-faction system where you have, like, East versus West or Horde versus Alliance or, whatever. It really allows for just a lot of fun ways to interact with players. It really does. It's a pretty straightforward system. Basically, you have the ability to act upon enemies of your faction in any way you wish, just as a default. So, I am from the Eastern faction. If I run into a Western faction person, they're largely going to be hostile to me. There are obviously ways to actually interact with other players in those factions, which is probably the source of another video later. But you can do it. And you can attack them. You can steal their farms if they've planted any farms outside of protected areas, which I'll go into here in a little bit. Any of these things are possible to interact with players outside of your faction. In this game, there just so happen to be 3 factions, which I'll get into here in just a minute. But all these activities are possible within the game. However, you can also interact with people of your own faction in negative ways. These are actions that are considered to be crimes. They are illegal, and if reported, will give you crime points. If you hit the C button, or whatever your user interface button is, looks like there's a lot of people from No Fear organizing for something here. You can look right over here and you can see your crime points and your infamy points. Infamy points are the lifetime crime points that you've earned, minus any ways you've earned some restitution, cleared out some of those crime points. There are ways to do that, which we'll get to here in a little bit. And then the actual crime points, these are your current, the current tally of points that you've accrued since the last time you were in jail, or otherwise have cleared these out in any way. If your crime points get above 50 and you are killed by another player, whether it's your own faction or an enemy faction, you are immediately sent off to jail to be put on trial, and you'll be tried by a jury of your peers, and if you are found guilty, you'll be put in prison for a sentence to be determined by the jail time. Anytime you earn crime points, it immediately increases your infamy points as well. If you get up to 3,000 infamy points lifetime, you will be turned into a pirate. You will be forced into the 3rd faction. The pirate homeland is very small. It is up here in the northwest Arcadian Sea, Stormraw Sound, Growlgate Isle. I've been there. You can visit there. There are pirate-affiliated guards. So if you are the East or West faction, be very careful about going up there, as it is very dangerous. Because all the guards will aggro you and likely will kill you, so be very careful. But it's got some neat stuff up there that you can explore and take a look at. And so if you get some time, I would be cautious, but I would go ahead and explore up there to see what you like. There actually is a little bit of land up there as well. I don't know a whole lot about the whole pirate faction thing. It fascinates me, but it's not really the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to talk more directly about the crime and punishment involved in being a green player, of being a member of a outstanding faction. Now, if you have 0 lifetime infamy points, you are actually eligible to join the jury process. I am in Austera for a specific reason, and that is because the quest that allows you to earn your freedom points, earn your ability to get on a jury, is actually originated from here. Now, I don't have that quest, nor can I show you it, as I have been a very bad kitty and have lucky 777 infamy points lifetime. But if you are in this area around the standard level, there will be a quest line to sort of run around town and solve a crime. And once you've completed that quest line, you will be able to queue for jury duty. As soon as you get flagged for that, you'll get pop-ups every once in a while that allow you to become a juror in other people's trials. Doing enough jury duties will earn you some rewards. You can get a really nice cloak that has +7 to all stats. Again, I don't have that since I've been a bad kitty my whole life. And You can also get a really cool judge's uniform, and it's just a lot of fun, actually, to be on juries. It's if you really allow yourself to get into it and do a little bit of pseudo RP and talk with the defendant and all that kind of stuff, it's actually a quite enjoyable process. I did it in the alpha. I haven't really done it in the main game due to me being a career criminal. But it's a blast. And if you are on the West faction, I believe the equivalent city is Marianople. I think somewhere in here you'll find a very similar quest line. I think the jail for West is here, the guard barracks somewhere around there. The jail for East is the Isle of Penance, which I don't know if you can even really... Yeah, it's right up there, just north of there. So while I'm here, I actually wanted to tell you guys a little bit about how to get rid of crime points before I teach you how to get them, which you usually don't want to get crime points. If you want to try to get away with crimes, you'll be in a much better case here. So if you go to the jail, wherever the jail is, actually I'm going to go ahead and head out and show you guys, although he will not have a quest for me. I'll show you the NPC that is relevant. If you go right outside of the jail, you can actually get a lead-in quest to work on removing your crime points, removing your infamy. These the quest line will allow you to receive 4 daily quests total. Each of the daily quests will allow you, hey, I got the Super Kitty glitch. Woohoo, Super Kitty. Each of these, with the 4 quests total, will allow you to work off 100 infamy and crime points per day. Do note that even if you drop your crime points down below 50, if they've already hit 50 at any given point, then they will immediately, it will immediately inflict you with the wanted debuff, which will I'll show off a little bit later, and you are guaranteed to go to prison the next time you are killed. Even if you're able to drop your crime points to 0, it will reduce your sentence quite dramatically if you have your crime points down to 0, even if you are wanted. But you will still be wanted, and there's nothing you can do to remove the wanted debuff unless you get caught. That's the only way to get rid of it. So you head outside of the jail. There's an NPC over here. I believe his name is Jailer blah, 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 something. Guess we'll find out here in a second. And again, I would wager that yeah, Jailer Visha right here. If you are on the West faction, I would wager that there is a jailer character right outside of the West jail that will give you a similar task here. So you speak with them, and they will give you a lead-in to 2 dailies that you can do. Each of the dailies in the sort of lobby cities where the actual crime and justice system takes place, because all the courts on East, for example, are in Austera. Each of those dailies will give you a reduction of 20 crime and infamy points. So I'm just going to go ahead and head over there and show you guys those real quick, and I'll be right back. Alright, I've relocated myself to the other part of Austera. The lead-in quest that the jailer gives you only has to be done once. Once per character. Once you've done it, you are now able to do these dailies until your brain explodes, I guess. Or the death of the universe. Whichever one comes first. But these 2 quests right here on East are the 2 quests you can see here. Infamy points -20, which is good. Grab that one, and infamy points -20 as well. Grab that one. The 2 here are, one of them you have to haul 3 bits of cargo up to an area and drop them off. These are really just sort of community service style quests. To the best of my knowledge, you can't actually load these packs into your into a farm cart or anything. You actually do have to haul them by hand, but you can use other transportation methods such as a donkey with a carrot on a stick doing the thing. Also Songcraft works, as you can hear. So they're not too bad. I mean, they are a little monotonous, but it's kind of cute, really, thinking that there's sort of like an in-game community service type thing that allows you to remove your crime points. I find it fascinating that they chose to do I don't want to use the word realistic, but a real-world inspired criminal justice system. And it actually works. I mean, the mechanics of it are sound. It's a lot of fun to participate in jury and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, all I have to do is transport 3 of these here, and I will be alleviated of my criminal wrongdoings. So if I drop that off there. That is one of the 3. I'll go ahead and head back and do the other two while I'm continuing to talk. The other quest over here is also in Ostera. It is to clear up construction debris. If you go up to this construction site, all you have to do is just click on 15 different things, and that quest will be done. But I'm not going to actually show that off. After I'm done doing these here, actually, why am I on my old donkaroony? I'm going to get my actual fast mount. I need to ride my donkey back. I'm a city kitty. I'll go ahead and head back there. After I get these done, I'm going to show you guys the other two dailies that are available. Each of the other two dailies give you 30 infamy reduced, and they are available, one on the western side and one on the eastern side for all factions. So whether you are east or west, you can use these other quests to actually alleviate even more infamy, totaling 100 per day. 20 for each of these makes 40, and then 30 for each of the other ones is another 60. Therefore, 100 points. And they don't really take a whole lot of time. I mean, this one maybe takes 5 or 10 minutes. The other one takes about maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And counting travel time, the other ones take, again, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And it's a good way to make sure that you don't actually get to the 3,000 crime points, assuming you don't want to turn into a pirate. Now, just to get a little philosophical with you guys, I really like doing in-faction crime. It can be very profitable. The only way you actually get crime points is if the crimes get reported. So if they're in obscure areas, or especially out in the open sea, there's a good chance that your piracy crimes will never get reported unless people are feeling particularly white knighty, if you will. It could be a very rewarding thing, and really, if you've watched my video about ArcheAge drama, it harkens back and sort of integrates well into the entirety of the sort of drama that unfolds as you play ArcheAge, because with the ability to attack or otherwise influence players of any faction at just about any time, depending on where they are, it opens the gameplay up quite a bit, and it makes it feel a lot more rewarding, open-ended, a lot more exciting to participate in a game where you're not limited to only interacting with these people at these times. As I mentioned in the other video, there's a number of times when I would play something like WoW, and in a PvP area I would be more frustrated by players of my own faction acting against me by, you know, swooping in and stealing a mining node or something like that, or a quest mob, and I have no recourse against them because they are my own faction. Whereas if they were Reds, I could attack them. And this game has no such problem. If they are your own faction, that only is a superficial guarantee that you will be friendly with them. And vice versa, if they are Red, that is only a superficial promise that you will be hostile towards them. I mean, just as another example of why I love this game so much, I'm actually learning the Western Continent dialect. You can learn their language, and I can already understand a good chunk of what Westerners say, and there have been a few times where I was actually able to communicate my own thoughts to them already, even though I have only made it halfway through the skills. So, all those little interesting interactions make the crime system, make the faction system very complex and rewarding to truly engage in. So anywho, I'm going to head up here and finish this one off, and you'll see the reward being presented in just one moment here. I'm really glad that these exist. They give you a really easy, reliable way to, of course, remove a lot of your crime points. I like to hang out in Ostera for a number of other reasons anyway, so hanging out here and being able to remove crime points when I'm not doing anything else is quite nice. As long as you have, you know, a decent buffer between what your current infamy and 3,000, I consider this a resource to be spent. I don't see any reason other than potentially getting on jury duty to stay at a low infamy, because if there's resources out there, I want to get them, regardless of who's carrying them. So anyway, go ahead and do that, and as you can see, it actually does reduce your current crime points. Again, if you're already wanted, if you're already past the 50 crime point mark, you will have the wanted debuff, no matter what. There's nothing you can do to get rid of that other than getting caught, but it will reduce your sentence, and if you haven't quite got the wanted debuff yet, you will be able to reduce it to make it a little bit more delayed than it otherwise would be. So I was able to drop my crime points by 20 and my infamy points by 20 by doing a little bit of community service. One of the ways you can actually drop off your crime points is by using Draughts of Forgiveness. It will reduce your crime and infamy points by 100. This also follows the same rule. It even mentions on the tooltip that if you're already wanted and you drink one of these drops of forgiveness, you will still be wanted, but your sentence will be significantly lower due to your lower overall crime points. And as it even mentions on this tooltip here, if you do go to pirate and you get to 3,000 infamy or more, you then must reduce yourself all the way to 0 infamy to get to the ability to rejoin the other faction. So quite a grind. Lots of drops of forgiveness, lots of dailies, which are, I'm not even sure if pirates even have a daily to remove that sort of stuff. If you know anything about how piracy works, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. Anyway, I'm going to show you guys the other 2 quests that you can use to reduce your crime points and infamy points. One of them is in Rookborn Basin, and the other one is in Sandeep, so I'll be right back. And here I am in Rookborn Basin. If you check the map here, I'm just hanging out above the river around Dusk Gleam. Love this zone. So pretty. Wish my graphic settings were higher. But if you head over here to the Wandering Confessor, this lovely individual will allow you to reduce your crime points or your infamy points by 30 points. Checking the map, you can see all you have to do is go around to these 3 different areas and give these individuals at these areas a token, turn the quest in, and you'll reduce by 30 points. Not going to bother doing that as it is quite a loop to get around in the course of the video. So I will be heading over to Sandeep to show you that location. Again, this is in Dusk Gleam in Rookborn Basin on the Eastern Continent. This is available to both factions. Anybody can come up to this NPC, get this quest, and do this quest. This is in Eastern Territory, so if you're west, you have to be a little bit careful. But otherwise, it's quite doable. So, be right back. And here we are on the gorgeous beaches of Sandeep. Lovely tropical Sandeep. Here towards the southern area, around the Mermaids Tears portion of the zone. You can see there is a thatched cottage, breezy bungalow as it were, and right next to that is an absolving confessor. Let's speak with this individual, and they will give you a quest to remove 30 infamy points. And you have to clear some litter out, and actually looks like this individual is doing that right now. You have to clear some litter out from the seas, right down in here. Just dive underwater. You can see some dirty beachgoers have been soiling the terrain. The otherwise sparkly and clear things, these little light beams will show you. There's the litter. Pick it up, haul it over to the NPC, drop it off, and this quest will be over. 30 infamy reduced. So that is just about all that I know as far as methods to get rid of crime points. Now we get into the fun part, the getting crime points. I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, so here I am in Rookborn Basin in a undisclosed location, and looking around here, I could see a few wild trees that have been planted, and it looks like there's a couple trees right here as well. They're planted by a friend of mine. This is definitely not pre-staged or anything. This is completely natural. Just totally finding this in the random wilderness. One of the things that is really interesting about this game is you can actually plant any plant or livestock or anything that is plantable or placeable on a farm. You can plant them anywhere. If you pick them up, you can see as I'm moving this around, see how it has, well, it's kind of hard to tell because of the snow, but there's a green little outline. Actually looks kind of yellow. Because this green outline is around these plants, I can plant these in this area. I could plant this entire field full of clover bundles or rose bundles or any plant that I so choose. Livestock, anything. Anything that's plantable, anything that's purchasable from vendors can be planted anywhere. When it is outside of dedicated farmland, it is called unprotected, also known as illegal. Technically not illegal, but a lot of people will call it illegal. But they're unprotected, meaning that if I plant these, it will be available for anybody to come and harvest or uproot or do what they will. If somebody of my own faction were to take those actions, which I will be doing here in just a few moments on some sample plants that we have growing, I will get crime points if those crimes are reported. And I'll show you that here in just a little bit. But if they either do not get reported or if nobody comes and uproots them, this is a very good way to make some money, whether you're stealing from somebody else's unprotected farm or planting your own and retrieving it as needed. Do note that in order to prevent the system from getting ridiculous to the point where everybody and their brother will plant stuff everywhere, that anything placed outside of protected land, and it even says on the tooltip right there, will cost you labor. I believe it is a flat 10 labor fee for any plant planted outside of protected land. So things that are continuously harvestable tend to be pretty good because you only have to incur that penalty once. So if you can have a illegal livestock farm or an unprotected livestock farm somewhere, or unprotected gathering trees that can be continuously gathered from on a regular basis, these are things that allow you to make the most out of that initial labor fee. Now if you were to plant something that was very easily planted, very easily harvested, for example potatoes, which only have a 10-minute grow time, I do not have any potato seeds on me, you'd be spending a lot of labor for a very minimal result. So there's a nice opportunity cost that's involved with the sort of unprotected farming. It makes it very interesting instead of it just being like, oh, let's just fill up every single square inch of land with stuff and oversaturate the market. Because there's a pretty hefty labor cost, it makes you really think about what you really want to actually achieve to do this. So here in just a minute, as soon as one of these plants finishes growing, I'm going to show off the relative labor costs of uprooting and harvesting wild plants that are not your own. And in addition, I'm going to be attacking my poor friend Basarov here, but shh, don't tell him. He doesn't know yet. He doesn't know I'm going to be killing him here in a minute. And just a quick note as far as that goes, and if you would like to attack somebody on your own faction, you have to hit Control F. That is the default hotkey for that. You will get a P next to your name in your party interface. That means you are open for PvP, and it puts you into a bloodlust mode. If you see this debuff on somebody, or rather this buff on somebody, that means that they are then in bloodlust mode. If I were to attack somebody outside of my own party or raid, I would then turn purple. My name will turn purple, which I'll show you here in just a little bit. And once my name has turned purple, anybody may attack me freely, whether it's a green or a red. Nobody will incur a penalty or a criminal activity for attacking somebody who has flagged themselves as a criminal. So be wary of that. If you see people approaching you and they have this buff on them and it's likely that they are going to be attacking you, they may have just forgotten it. You never know. This is pretty freely toggleable. You can toggle it just about as quickly as you can do that. Once you've locked into an attack on somebody, you'll actually be stuck with the bloodlust for a number of seconds, which I'll show you here. Earthquake, which I'll show you here in just a little bit, as far as the duration of that and what all that entails. So you'll have to experiment with this and learn how to do all that sort of stuff. Do know as well that you do not have to be bloodlusted, as it were, to harvest things from other people. Bloodlusting is only required to attack friendly players and friendly vehicles. You can attack vehicles as well. If you have a galleon with some cannons, you can sink a friendly trade ship by bloodlusting and firing upon it with cannons. So as soon as these plants are done, I will be doing some harvesting to show off exactly how much infamy I will be getting while doing so, and I will be back in just a moment. Alright, so time has come for me to be a very, very bad kitty indeed. We have another plant here. I wanted to get a full bevy of different opportunities to see exactly how many crime points you get for uprooting and harvesting. I believe it's a flat 3 crime points for each thing, but I'm not 100% certain. Now do note when you attack somebody that the actual place of... Oh, I have actually attacked him. The actual bloodstain will appear at their feet, not yours. Looks like my buddy just moved, thankfully. My damage output is not great. I'm currently in a very strange spec, so this is going to probably take a little bit to actually kill my friend here. Thankfully, he's being a trooper here. My insane DPS. Switched over to sorcery just so I could show him off here. And do note also that sometimes the bloodstains can be kind of hard to see. If you are doing this in a naval situation out on the open seas, do note that any of the bloodstains that you will leave will actually be at the very surface of the water. So even if you kill somebody deep within the watery depths, they will only show up in those areas above. So if you look here, you can see these bloodstains. They are tagged with my name, large bloodstain, small bloodstain. The small bloodstain results from attacking somebody, and the large bloodstain comes from finishing somebody off. So I'm going to let my buddy come back here. I'm going to uproot these and show off everything. Also do note I am purple now. Anybody could freely attack me. I have this retribution debuff, and as soon as this fades, I will no longer be purple. 2, 1, 0, bam, and I'm back. So I'll turn that off. I'll wait for my buddy to get back here, and I'll see you in a second. Okay, so my friend has risen from the dead. I'm going to go ahead and start digging up these things just to show exactly what happens. I'm going to go up to this potato here, and when I go to harvest it, it will allow me to do so as... there we go. And let me go ahead and do this one as well. This is an uproot action. I just got one of my bloodstains reported. That's +1 infamy. And this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and uproot this one. Large bloodstain will be getting reported here in just a moment, I would wager. And, wow, I'm actually not... actually not getting any uproots. That's interesting. I must not be getting penalized because he's in the same guild. That didn't even occur to me. Alright, well, I guess I'm going to set this up again and we'll figure it all out. So the bloodstains worked, but the uprooting did not. Okay, so it turns out that... another earthquake. Turns out that either being in the same guild or being in the same family does not actually cause you to be able to uproot things, which is kind of interesting. I actually did not know that. So continuing this trend of a lot of these other videos I've been recording, I learned something from my own tutorial. Hooray! But I actually just recently kicked this guy out of my guild. He's a friend of mine and an actual fellow guildie. But just for the purposes of experimenting, I went ahead and did that. So I have trial chat enabled here, so you can see in just a little bit what's going on with that. Hopefully I'll actually be leaving footprints here, unless this is really just not going to work. Okay, there we go. So there I finally left some footprints. Hopefully it'll be enough to actually get me put into prison. You can see that every time you dig stuff up, you leave footprints. Now when you report these, and I'll probably record a small segment about this at a later in a little bit, when you report these, you get a little dialogue that will show up, and you can actually provide information about the crime. Another interesting thing is that if you have the larceny skill, which is gained by opening coin purses and a few other things, you'll actually have a chance to not leave footprints whenever you do something illegal in terms of uprooting or gathering or anything. So you can see I'm getting a few little bits of infamy. Everything that gets reported is 3. Fairly certain it's a flat rate. I wasn't able to confirm that, but if you guys do know of any plants or anything that gives a different rate at any given time, please let me know. So they're going to be continuing to report my crimes as I dig these up. Hopefully I'll get up to the point where I get to the 50 necessary to go to jail, as I do want to show you guys the whole process, the sacrifices that I'm making, just to show you guys what the crime and punishment system is like. I personally, depending on what the crime was, if I do decide to report footprints or anything like that, whoops, if I do decide to report footprints or anything like that, I usually will either leave something relevant if it's somebody who I definitely want to get convicted, or if it's somebody I don't care about and I'm just feeling like being a little bit of a troll, I like to leave funny sayings in the dialogue boxes, like, you know, accuse somebody of stealing the last cookie from the cookie jar, not putting the cap back on toothpaste, not cleaning up their Legos, putting their toilet paper on the roll the wrong way, and so on. Just fun little things you can do to spice up the game a little bit. And when you get the full report about all the crimes that somebody committed, you can actually see all those different statements. And it's a good little bit of fun. I enjoy it. It sort of ties into the whole pseudo role-playing thing that I talked about in my drama video, actually. So hopefully, yep, looks like we're getting pretty darn close here. I'm going to just continue to uproot these just for the sake of completion. And we'll be heading to jail here in a little bit as soon as I get wanted. I've always wanted somebody to want me. It feels good to be wanted. So there we go. There is the wanted debuff. I am now officially a suspect because of the crimes that I have allegedly committed. I, of course, am not guilty until proven so by a jury of my peers. So I will go ahead and finish uprooting these, and then as soon as I decide to flag, these guys are going to send me to the waiting cell of prison. So I finish uprooting these just for completion's sake. Flag, and here we go. Woo! Time to bring the pain. Bring it, boys. Yeah, all my insane amounts of damage that I do with my build. Ow, my heaps. And there we go. Doesn't take too long to get killed off there. So you get put in a holding cell after you die. Turn my bloodlust off here. You can request a trial, or you can just choose to be guilty. I love the trial system, so I'm going to do that. If you just choose guilty, you'll get that sentence. If you request a trial and you're found guilty, you'll actually end up with a longer sentence, But again, I find it quite enjoyable to do this. So here I've been teleported to the jury station. You can actually see all this kind of stuff here. You can see potato genocide. People have been doing this, putting in some funny comments about stealing potatoes. You can see all the, oh, here we go, piece of shit bacon, purpled on me, people love me and stuff. You can see all the different attacks, killing lobies. I've been a pretty bad kitty, apparently. Now that I'm in the trial chat, I actually can speak in trial, so I could say, greetings, jurors. I come to you accused of 2 types of crimes. Let's see here, and actually you can see what guild people are in, usually if you mouse over a lot of the stuff. Usually you can see what guild they're in. Maybe not. Or am I just missing it somewhere? Maybe I'm just missing it. Being a nice guy, taking potatoes. I did. I took potatoes in the name of recording a video explaining the criminal system. I'm recording said video right now. Do with me what you will. Could have sworn there was a way to actually see what guild people were in. I probably am just missing something, so I'm sure somebody will tell me in the comments exactly why I'm being an idiot. Some people do not like bacon. Not exactly sure why, but you know, it's just what I do. That's just what I do. People do love us. It's always enjoyable to have a nice conversation with the jury, but the 5 jurors, and actually you can see what guild they are as they are presented right before you. Thankfully no PRX, which are pretty much our biggest enemy. No, there you can see the entire criminal history there. You can decline to give a closing argument, which I will do just to speed the process up a little bit. Everybody will give their verdict. They're given an option to go between innocent and guilty with varying sentences. The sentence average is tallied up, and you are presented with your verdict at the end of the process here. So as soon as these are all finished, I will be getting sentenced. 14 minutes in jail, the max sentence. As you saw before, I was given a 12-minute sentence. Thanks for your help. I was given a 14-minute sentence, even though my plea would have been 12 minutes. So that's fine. That's pretty normal. All in the name of good fun, all in the name of recording a video and trying to tell people exactly how the whole jail process goes. So in just a brief moment here, I will be getting transported to jail. Always a fun time. This is a pretty neat concept. Of course, only getting 14 minutes of jail makes this a lot more pleasant than if you were to get, you know, hours and hours and hours of jail time, which actually is possible. You can get sentenced for a very long time in jail. The jail on East and West are different. This one's kind of neat. I kind of like all the stuff that's available in here to do. It has a little prison yard where you can play football. Proper football, not American gridiron football, but international football. You need soccer shoes to do so, which is kind of interesting that they're called soccer shoes. But there are a number of things you can actually interact with when you're in jail. You can't use any of your abilities. You can't summon your mounts or anything. There are some things you can do that I don't think you're supposed to be able to do, but it's not like you're going to get banned or anything from them. But if you bash these little boxes open and all that kind of stuff, you can actually get some loot from those, including a full jail outfit. You can also dig through this dirt mound here to serve your sentence if you wish. This will allow you to dig up and potentially have a chance at getting a key, actually. You can see that, all that sort of stuff there. I'm replying to my friend here. Recording a video about jail. That's one of my friends and fellow ArcheAge streamers, Kylie. Anyway. So yeah, you can dig through the dirt mounds and get various objects as well, including the opportunity to get a key, which will allow you to have a chance to escape jail. The key will allow you to open the tower gate. Stored within the tower are some gliders that have a very limited amount of movement. If you climb the tower, jump, and use the glider, it will allow you to glide over the edge and actually escape prison. Very cool concept. Can Can't really do anything while you're out of prison. It doesn't get rid of your prisoner debuff, but it's kind of neat that you can actually escape and go out and cause more shenanigans if you so desire. Of course, the most important thing about being in prison, if you're on the East Continent, I don't know if they have one in the West Continent, but if they do, you should definitely do this as well. This is the scoreboard for the soccer game, if you really want to get into it. But it's very, very important to make sure that this gets set to 1005 every time you come here. So make sure you get 1005. Make sure you're representing the 1005 Legion. You can even take a screenshot and post it on your Twitter, whatever you want to do. Make sure you're representing the Cilantro Gamer community and the 1005 Legion to its best extent. So make sure it's set to 1005 there. Do note that there are actually a few ways to glitch out of prison as well. To the best of my knowledge, these are acceptable ways to get out of prison. For one, you still essentially have to serve your jail sentence. So even if you can leave the prison area proper, you're still stuck doing that. Also, do note that your sentence will not tick down if you are offline. This is time you have to spend in-game in prison to allow this debuff to continue to wear off. There is no other way to actually alleviate yourself of the sentence other than to actually serve it. So just to show you a few things that you can do here that are pseudo-exploitative. If you do get the soccer shoes, you can actually kick the soccer ball while you're standing on it, and it'll occasionally allow you to fly with it. So if you can manage to get the soccer ball to the very top of the tower, which is kind of hard to do, you can actually kick it with you on it off of the tower and over the wall, and you can get out that way. Perfectly fine. In the alpha, you used to actually be able to just jump through the wall right here. You could just jump right along this area at a certain angle and jump right into the interior of the tower. But one of the interesting things is that you can actually summon your farm cart if you own a farm cart here in prison, which is kind of, actually looks like somebody just glitched their way through. That's kind of interesting. Looks like he already made his way in there. Hello. But if you have a farm cart here, you can actually just drive it into the center here, and with a little bit of finagling, and looks like he was able to do it with his actually. A little bit of finagling, you can actually kind of jam it in here and get yourself through the wall. Looks like he's kind of making it a little hard to actually do so. Oh, here we go. I think I'm just going to jump into his and maybe get out that way. Oh. Hang on a second here. We might be able to get out. Oh, now I'm in my own here. So we'll do that. And I love that little things like this aren't going to get you banned. I find this sort of stuff interesting. There are actual problems with the game, you know, illegal third-party programs and such that can and should get you banned from the game. But this sort of stuff won't. And I really like that this sort of stuff is actually quite doable. This guy's trying to give me a little bit of advice. I actually do know how to do this. Unfortunately, I'm kind of a wedge in a very strange area here. But usually if you just pop out and jump a little bit, you'll be able to get out pretty easily into the area there. Looks like he's getting out in 30 seconds anyway. Let's see if I can't get this here. Maybe. I usually do this from a fresh summon, so I'm going to go ahead and... uh-oh. Now I'm stuck in the wall. I think I may have screwed myself over a little bit here. That's not good. I'm stuck in the wall. One of the perils of trying to escape prison is you may end up stuck in the wall. It's not good. But once you've actually made it in there, you can just loot one of the chests through the wall, summon your farm cart, and then climb into your farm cart to actually get yourself out of the area there. So that's kind of entertaining that now I'm actually stuck here for the rest of my sentence, unless I could somehow figure out a way to break myself free. I don't know if that's going to happen. So anywho, I'm just going to let the rest of my sentence fill out here, finish out. You'll get teleported outside of jail and become a free man again after all of that sort of stuff is done. So yeah, you can still talk to your friends while you're in jail. And also do note that you can actually fly into jail if you are on a glider. This is a area in the world, is the Isle of Penance, as I had shown off earlier. And if you fly over this area, it will actually jail you, I believe, for a half an hour automatically. So be careful flying around. You do not want to fly into jail, because you will literally be in jail at that point. It gives you a automatic half-hour sentence. So anyway, as soon as I get unstuck out of here and all that, I will go ahead and wrap the video up with a few other little anecdotes and points about the justice system. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes. well, I'll see you guys immediately. I'll be out in a few minutes. Day 1. Life on the outside. So many things have changed since I was in prison. It's kind of crazy, actually, how quickly the world moves when you're stuck, trapped for so long in a single place. It really gives you a lot of perspective. 14 whole minutes, and my life is completely different. Anyway, 2 more things I wanted to talk about very, very, very quickly. First thing is the whole reporting system. Again, just to emphasize, you don't actually automatically get crime points whenever you do anything. You have to have those be reported. Actually, I thought I had seen some blood around here a little bit ago. I was going to try to report. Ah, there we go. But I actually realized I didn't capture what it actually looks like to do this sort of thing. So I figured I would do that. You can see exactly when the time was, the location. You can describe what you saw. I said I like to put something sort of silly in here, so we'll just say drank the last coffee, didn't brew more. So whenever anybody's in, whenever this guy gets put into jail, that will show up with that message in it, just as a cute little thing. So that was the first thing I kind of want to mention. The second thing is when you plant things anywhere, regardless of whether or not they're outside of the boundaries of a farm or inside, wherever, after 24 hours from the initial planting, the ownership tag is lost. So here, for example, these cheese larders that I planted on my farm a little bit earlier, about 3 hours ago, they still have my name on them. My neighbor here, however, these cheese larders have been over here for over a day, almost 8 hours, and they no longer have a name associated with them. When a plant in the wild, whether it is planted by you, planted by somebody else, whoever, when a plant in the wild that was planted by a player has been in the wild for 24 hours, that plant will no longer be associated with that player, and thus you cannot earn any crime points for actually interacting with them anymore. So for example, this bay tree right here is part of a hidden farm that I've had for quite some time here in Rookborn. I will occasionally come up here once people have forgotten about it and replant it. Most of them got dug up, but this one still stands for some silly reason. This has been here for quite some time, and it no longer has my name. So if anybody finds this, they can chop this, they can uproot it, they can do whatever they wish with this plant, and it will no longer be a crime for them. So that kind of adds a little interesting extra bit of depth when you're trying to find or hide farms. If you find somebody who's been around there for a while, it will no longer be a crime. So if somebody has been benefiting from a plant for over 24 hours, that plant then becomes public property, and you can do with it what you will. So no need to have any fear of retribution when you are doing that sort of thing. Oh, and actually one more thing I wanted to talk about. It's very common for people to put trade packs that they craft or otherwise obtain on their land. If you can see here, for example, these Rookborn aged cheese that I've been growing right here are ready to be transported and will be transported here very soon. Trade packs are always free loot. You'll never get any crime for taking a trade pack directly. Getting the trade pack is not the crime. Killing the person so they drop their trade pack is. However, if you see a trade pack and it has an owner's name on it, you have to keep in mind that that owner will get a portion of that money unless it is a aged product. Whoever turns in aged products get the full amount. But if this trade pack were to be dropped outside of protected land, for example, I think right here is outside of our farms, this trade pack will say free loot. If a trade pack says free loot, that means that it is unprotected by the land that it is on or near. So if you're ever going through a residential area, don't hesitate to scan around some of the different locations. You'd be surprised that occasionally you may find a trade pack that is listed as free loot. Maybe somebody dropped it there, didn't realize it wasn't quite in their land, and I'm getting attacked here, which I will probably end up dying here. But it's very, very possible that all those sort of things will really pan out and show you just opportunities that you would have otherwise missed. So make sure that you pay attention to when and where trade packs are available. Be constantly looking around for those in the residential areas where they're very commonly used. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't in anything close to a combat spec to be able to fight back against that guy, so I just took the quick and easy death. So anyway, trade packs will be available occasionally in housing areas if you just look. Some people may try to be a little clever, or they may just not realize that they're placing them in unprotected areas. So watch for that little free loot tag, and if you see that, snag them up. They are yours. Otherwise, enjoy your time in the world of ArcheAge. If you enjoy the criminal life, don't hesitate to get into it. You know, as long as you understand the mechanics behind it, you'll have a good time. And just realize that if you don't want to be a criminal in ArcheAge, that's perfectly fine too. Don't let anybody dissuade you from being a goody two-shoes. Play the game how you want. No one should tell you how to play the game otherwise, because it's your game. You play it how you wish. So enjoy the world of ArcheAge again. Thanks for watching the video. My name is Cilantro, and I will see you next time.